Now, you heard all about parenting styles in my last video. We talked about permissive, uninvolved, authoritarian, and I even suggested that authoritative parenting may be the best fit if you're parenting a neurodivergent or autistic child. But what if I told you that there are some parenting approaches that don't rely on discipline and control, ones that focus instead on relationship building, on fostering autonomy in your child, and on truly seeing your child as a whole person? If you're parenting an autistic or neurodivergent child, these approaches could change everything. I'll explain more about how that's possible. Welcome to Parenting Through Autism Spectrum Disorder, or Parenting Through ASD. On this channel, we explore how parents can develop themselves, carve out opportunities to think about how your own frame of mind, point of view can help you feel more confident, can help you feel stronger, can help you take care of yourself so that you can show up in the best possible light for your autistic or neurodivergent or special needs child, to make sure that you can be there for your family and for yourself. My name is Wendy. I'm a developmental psychologist and parent to a severely autistic teen boy. In today's video, we're going to focus on one affirming parenting approach called collaborative parenting. Let's take a closer look. So collaborative parenting is all about working with your child, not doing things to your child. Let me explain what this means. The core belief here is that children do well when they can, not just when they want to. Now, this is a philosophy inspired by Dr. Ross Greene. Now, according to Dr. Greene, behaviors aren't a failure of will, they're what he calls a lagging skill. A lagging skill means they're just not able to do what we're asking, so they respond in a way that looks like a bad behavior. For example, when a child is having a hard time, like having a meltdown or running away, maybe they're refusing to follow directions or becoming completely uncooperative, it's easy to assume that they are being defiant or willful, or that they're being difficult on purpose. But Greene's framework invites us to rethink this just a little bit. Instead of asking ourselves, why won't they behave, or why are they being this way, we should ask ourselves, what is in the way of them doing what we're asking? That something in the way is what he calls a lagging skill. What's the barrier to them behaving in the way that we're asking them to behave? That basically means that they haven't developed a skill yet. Now, all of this is based on neurotypical children, but we can still apply this to children with autism or other forms of neurodiversity. The same thing happens when they haven't developed certain skills. In fact, it may be even more so because we are more likely to jump to conclusions that behaviors are bad or inappropriate because we already have assumptions about what's supposed to be right, and they're already behind on those assumptions. So let's look at a real life example. Let's say that your child is having trouble going to bed, and for several nights in a row, they're just refusing to go to bed on time. Now, you could do something like bribe them. You could say, if you go to bed tonight, you can have syrup with your pancakes in the morning. Let's say you don't usually let them have syrup. Or you could threaten and say, if you don't go to bed, you're not going to have dessert with dinner for the next week. A collaborative approach would say something like, you've been having trouble going to bed. Why don't you tell me what the problem is? And then after you talk about what might be the problem, you invite them into the solution and say, okay, why don't we do this? What do you think about that? So for instance, let's say your child says, I don't want to go to sleep because I've been having nightmares and I'm afraid to go to bed because I don't want to have more nightmares. And you say something like, oh, how about we leave the light on, or we get you a night light? Do you think that would help? And you invite your child to be part of that solution and say something like, what if I sleep with my teddy bear instead? And then your child has a chance to be part of solving their own problem, to deal with their own emotions and see if that helps them. And they get to feel a sense of autonomy over that, ownership over that situation. So again, this is all assuming a certain level of function that we might not see in children with autism. But that doesn't mean they can't be part of problem solving in the same way. So my son, for instance, has limited communication. He may not be able to say, I'm having nightmares, I don't want to sleep by myself. He might not be able to say, I just have more energy at night, I can't sleep at night, which is very, very common with autistic children. But knowing that, I know that autistic children have trouble sleeping at night because something about their biological clock just revs up at night. I can ask him, because he understands more than he can speak, are you feeling more energy right now? Do you feel like playing more at night? And he can agree with me by grabbing his toys and starting to play. Then I understand that he is agreeing when he does that. So I can say, how about we go for a walk so that he can burn more energy? And if he starts to put his shoes on, I know that he agrees. And if he starts to say, no, 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 then I know that's not the solution and we can try something else instead. So it might take more time. It might be a little bit more uncomfortable because of the way he'll react if he doesn't want to do something, but I can still have a conversation that invites him to be part of and collaborate with me. He can communicate with me in his own way about what's keeping him up at night and about how he wants to handle it. And in our role as parents to autistic children, patience is the name of the game. And we know that. We can still do this. And letting him have more say in things like that will, over time, create more moments of peace and calm. And in the long run, build his confidence, build his trust in himself, build his problem-solving skills so that he feels better overall. And that will reduce meltdowns, that will reduce miscommunication, that will give us a chance at more peace in our households over time. So why is this approach helpful overall based on research with neurotypical children? We know that it does build that trust and it does let us know that we respect each other. The child knows we respect them and they respect us for letting them be part of the solution. By allowing children to be part of the problem solving with us, we also help develop their emotional skills. Because for instance, if it's something like having nightmares, they get to be a part of facing their nightmares with the solution that we've come up with together. And that helps with building emotional capacity. And as I've said, it helps with building autonomy because they get to own the decisions that we're making about how to solve their problems. Now, if we don't have this sort of collaborative dynamic, this can lead to power struggles. And I'll be honest, this is something that I have been seeing with my son, who has turned 14. And I got very used to him as a toddler and a school-age child being vulnerable. Because he has autism and doesn't communicate very well, I was always there to support his communication for him, to make decisions for him, to be that bridge to other people for him. And now that he's a teenager, he wants independence, he wants autonomy, he wants to make decisions. And I need to learn to step back, even though he has this autism thing. I need to learn to let go and to understand that this autism thing means a whole lot less to him as a teenage person now than it did when he was younger. I had to reduce how much I think of his vulnerabilities and increase how much I think of his strengths and his autonomy. And that's a learning curve for me. But for him, it's not. For him, he's just a person who wants to feel independent and autonomous. And if I don't learn to be more collaborative with him, we're going to continue to have power struggles. I need to learn to communicate with him better about what he wants to do, even though he has limited speech. And not only does that increase power struggles, but I know that he feels unheard. He will start to feel like, well, why should I listen to you if you don't listen to me? He doesn't understand that I don't listen because I don't understand what he's saying or what he's trying to communicate. He doesn't see that he's limited in communication. He sees that I'm not listening. So I need to find a way to bridge that gap. Okay, so when are good times to try using this kind of collaborative approach? I would say that Some of the best times to try this out until it becomes more a part of your everyday interactions would be during times when you're more likely to see behaviors, escalated behaviors, and that would be things like transitions. Neurotypical kids experience issues during transitions, but so do neurodiverse and autistic kids, right? For instance, I know that when I take my son's tablet is a difficult transition for him. So we use a green-red card, and his tablet goes on red when it's time for him to stop using his tablet. And when I say tablet goes on red, that's a good opportunity for me to bring him in and say, what would you like to do instead? So he's part of a decision making with me. That's collaborative. I get to say something like, would you like to play with this toy? Would you like to read a book? If he can't spontaneously come up with something he'd like to do, I can present options and give him moments to do that while tablet is on red. Now, he isn't part of the decision to put tablet on red because he would never put it on red. So we have to work through that a little bit until he gets better at putting tablet down on his own. Self-motivation is a big skill for him that we're working on. But that aside, he gets to be part of the decision of what to do when it's on red. Another good time where we might be able to practice being collaborative is when you expect behaviors. Like if your child is showing behaviors at certain times already and you've noticed that, like the example of not wanting to go to bed, and you've been seeing that already and you know that's going to happen. Maybe bath time. They don't want to take a bath and you're expecting to see a behavior at that time. Maybe you're trying to get them to eat different foods and you know that when you present them with peas and corn, they're not going to want to eat that. You're expecting a behavior. Those are all opportunities to try collaborative parenting. So the point is, it doesn't have to be something you do all the time. It doesn't have to be a complete transformation that happens in a second, but you can look for those moments when you can say, okay, I can be collaborative right now. And little by little, find more times when you can be collaborative until it becomes more of a instinctive way of interacting with your child or children at home. And I really do think that that can be transformative for a relationship. I mean, I haven't completely made the shift, but I do see that as I begin that transformation with my son, who really needs to be a part of his own life now, he needs to own more of his decisions, of his independence. I am starting to see how much our relationship can improve as I let him drive what he does with his day, with his time, more of him being able to choose, even if it's choices between things and not self-motivation. That means a lot. And that is reducing behaviors for us here at home. Now, if you enjoyed today's discussion, I have a video series in which we're looking at some parenting unintended consequences and a bunch of other things on this channel that help us show up for our autistic and neurodivergent children. I've got a few videos linked in the cards above where you can keep on watching. You can also follow this channel so you can be notified when new videos come out in this series and other series I have planned. I also have some reflection sheets available for you for free. If you follow the link to my stand store, you can download a variety of different products absolutely free to you that can help you on your own time work through any of the different exercises just for yourself when you have a moment. Take care. I'll see you in the next video.